How's it going, everybody? Hello from Canada. Welcome back to another video. So today is going to be the first of a new series where it's going to be me just doing top 5s. So I know top 5 videos are pretty popular elsewhere on the internet, and basically it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. So today I'm going to be doing top 5 most iconic pieces of equipment throughout hockey history. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be my own personal opinion. So if there are other things that you feel are iconic that I missed, let me know in the comments. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into this. Let's get going. Starting off with number 5 is going to be something that's extremely specific, but anybody who watches a lot of hockey is going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's Jason Spezza's hockey stick. Alright, so this guy used a wooden hockey stick until he probably wasn't allowed to anymore, and then when it wasn't wood, he switched over to two-piece. Like it literally seemed like this guy used a two-piece stick for like 80 years, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if he still secretly used one. Honestly I don't really understand the allure of having a wood blade or even a wood shaft over the the fancy technology stuff that we got now, but I mean, hey, I guess Spezza didn't like it. Also, additionally, this guy has the weirdest custom blade shape I've ever seen. This guy literally has like a dagger, and I'm gonna put a picture up, don't worry, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, but this guy literally has like a dagger for a blade. Like it looks like something that like Brad Marchand or like Ulf Samuelsson would use. Alright, like it does not look like something Spezza would use. It looked like one of the guys who's going out there to just poke. And number 4, a lot less specific, a little bit more generic, something that everybody used back in the day, and it's just the old style of gloves. So yeah, you know the ones that literally covered like your whole arm, and it was like some of them even went up to like above your elbow. Yeah, those are the gloves I'm talking about. Well, we look back at them and mock them now. You gotta admit, they're pretty iconic, and if you think of old time hockey, you gotta know these old gloves, man. Whoever thought these were a good idea, I really don't know. So the fact that they are so iconic, at least to me, is pretty incredible, because I feel like the person who just signed them might have been a defenseman, and you're not really looking to stick handle too much. I think these gloves are where the definition hands of stone really came from. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Alright, so we're gonna get into the top 3, but before we do that, I do have 2 honorable mentions, alright? So there are many honorable mentions that could have been listed, but for this one, I'm just gonna stick to 2. And I don't want to spend too much time on these because I don't want to make the video run for 30 minutes, so I'm just going to glance over them. But the first one we're going to be talking about, I don't know how many of you guys are going to know about them, and it's T-blades. You're going to see, if you haven't seen these things before, you're in for a treat, alright? Like, the blade is like the thickness of like 5 pieces of paper stacked on top of each other, and there's just circular holes on the holder. I really don't know what's going on. So if you don't know what these things are, you're honestly not missing out on any of this. Like look at them. Like, who approved this? Like, why would you ever want a blade that is thinner, like as thin as your hockey tape? Like, that just does not seem like it makes sense to me. Like, where are your edges? The whole blade is the edge. Like, there's nothing else but edge. It really doesn't make sense. But hey, whatever. All right, so the second honorable mention. This one everybody should know, everybody who plays hockey at least, and it's the old CCM Tax skates. The very first CCM Tax. When you see these things, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. These things are gorgeous, alright? I loved these skates back in the day. I never got them, I don't believe, but they're iconic, man. Like, these things were some of the first modern-ish looking skates, and they were amazing. I love them. Like, anybody who was anybody back in the day when these things came out rocked them because they were unreal. They were beauties. Also, if you're somebody else who would avoid the T-blades at all costs, drop a subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button down below. That means we have something in common, and when you got something in common, you gotta help a brother out. Alright, let's get into the top 3. So number 3 is gonna be the extremely iconic Reebok 808, often known as just the O-stick. This twig was truly one of a kind, and can't say for sure because I'm not Bauer, but I have a feeling the idea of having the hole in the shaft may have contributed to the new Bauer ADV and Bauer slings, because they put a hole in the blade. Reebok put a hole in the shaft like over 10 years ago, so they're trendsetters, I guess. Just thinking out loud. Regardless, the 808, the O-stick, whatever you want to call it, this twig was used by so many people. The durability wasn't the greatest from what I remember, but the feel and everything I've heard was amazing. I always kind of wanted to get my hands on one, but I never really did. So I can't speak from experience, but I do know people who had it and they always loved it. And honestly, it's impossible to ignore this thing when we're talking about most iconic pieces of equipment, because this thing was just so widely well known and well received. All right, let's get into the top 2. The penultimate pick, number 2, Kooperells. I don't know how many people will remember these because they weren't used NHL wide, and that's pretty much the only time you would have ever seen them. And if you're around my age or a little bit younger, you might not have even heard of these things in your life because this is way before we started watching hockey. So I'm 24, and that's way before me because I believe these were in the 80s. But they were hilarious. Essentially, what they were was like hockey pants that were actually pants. They weren't shorts. And honestly, I don't know if there's shin pads under them, but I would assume so because I don't think you would want to deal with full pants that had like super thick padding. Actually, you know what? I don't know what would be worse. Shin pads or no shin pads, I don't even know. Regardless, I'm pretty happy I never got to use these things. But looking back at them, they are pretty cool. And I think there's a reason they never got adapted NHL wide. But you know what? They are pretty unreal to look at from back in the day. And they're so unique, it's amazing. So finally, we're at number 1. And here's my pick for the most iconic piece of equipment of all time. Some of you guys may have seen it coming, some of you guys may have not. It's gotta be the Jofa helmet. This helmet needs absolutely no introduction. It is just simply the epitome of classic hockey equipment and classic style. And it just aged so well. Everybody knows the Jofa helmet. Anybody in the hockey world. I'm pretty sure even kids who are like 6 years old nowadays know the Jofa helmet somehow. But everybody knows this thing, and anybody who's anybody back in the day, if you had to wear a helmet, loved the Jofa. Evidenced by some of the superstars who wore it. And just to name a few, we got Gretzky, we got Solani, we got Yager, Mario Lemieux. Like, these guys are some of the best hockey players of all time, and they all rock the Jofa. So I'm not gonna say that the Jofa gave them powers, but what I will say, we didn't see them play a whole career without the Jofa, so we don't know how much power it gave them. Regardless, this helmet, one of the best of all time. I always wanted one, even just to mess around, like going to shinny, going to the outdoor rink, whatever, just for fun, because it's a classic. Does it protect your head? Not really. Like, it does, but compared to nowadays helmets, it does nothing. Absolutely nothing. But at the same time, the comfort, the shape, the appeal, the look, everything about this helmet just screams iconic. And in my opinion, is one of the most amazing creations to ever come out of the hockey world. Alright, so that's it for this top 5. More on the way. So if you did enjoy, please let me know down in the comments. Again, if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments as well. If there's any other equipment that you feel is iconic, or you agree with my picks, you disagree with my picks, feel free to let me know. Let's hear what your opinions are. So if you enjoyed, if you're new, please like, subscribe down below for more great hockey content. And just, you know, fun content in general. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll catch you guys all in the next video.